Hello everybody, welcome back to the 80s Slashers YouTube channel. In this video, we will be continuing counting down my top 80 slashers of the 80s. And we will be looking at and discussing numbers 50 through 41. Now, this list of 10 films is an interesting one, I find, because there are these are all films that I obviously like quite a bit, but it seems like a lot of these films don't exactly follow the typical slasher formula. Some of them do for sure, but there are ones here that are either, like some sort of a supernatural twist, or they kind of balance the line between typical slasher and some other subgenre of horror. And the last 10 films that we talked about, there were some of these as well, and the next 10 films in the next video that we'll talk about also include some of these, I guess what you would call borderline slasher type films. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just a coincidence, but to me, it seems like this is probably the area where I tend to rank these sorts of films, pitted up against, the classic, formulaic 80s slasher, which, I've said many times before is my preferred style of slasher film. So, I don't know, something kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. So, all right, so as always, just to say this, these are obviously my own personal rankings, which are, solely based on my own likes, tastes, and preferences within the genre. Yeah, so get that out of the way. So, all right, let's just get right into it. So let's start this off by taking a look at number 50. Okay, so coming at number 50 from 1981, we have Night School. And Night School is what I would consider kind of like an American giallo. There's many elements, many tropes in this film that are clearly taken from the Italian horror films, the Italian giallos. There's the killer. Likes to wear the black leather gloves. Is always like a helmet. In this case, it's like a motorcycle helmet. Big, large bladed weapon, kind of some sexiness, kind of sleaziness going on, and beheadings, big twist reveal. All these things are kind of what you would associate with the Italian giallo. So this one was clearly influenced by that, which is great. Night School is very well made. It's a beautiful looking film, filmed in and around Boston. Really captures Boston, the early '80s. It's fantastic. Really well directed. Great acting. This is one of those slasher for adults. It wasn't. It didn't star a bunch of teenagers. I don't think it was made for a bunch of teenagers. It was it was starring adults, and it was probably made for an older audience. So yeah, that's the type of film this is. But again, this film has some really, really great kills. Like I mentioned earlier, the theme within this, and it actually plays into the plot is decapitations, beheadings, whatever you want to call them. Almost every kill is some sort of decapitation. And there's some really good ones, like some really good highlight ones. There's a really cool one that takes place in an aquarium, which is fantastic. And there's one that takes place in a toilet. And when I say toilet in aquarium, that's basically where the heads end up, just like floating in the water or like sitting in a toilet. It sounds morbid, but they're filmed really well, and it's really cool. Now, although I found the ending of this, the big reveal, a little predictable, they still handled it really well. And the plot of this film, it really is kind of one of the strong points. Yeah, I like how the story how the story plays out. So yeah, Night School, not your typical slasher, but a great little American giallo with some really strong slasher elements. It's good. It's really good. All right, let's move on and take a look at number 49. Okay, so coming at number 49, also from 1981, we have Eyes of a Stranger. Now, again, this is another film that's kind of a different style slasher. This one is similar to this kind of has like the Alfred Hitchcock Rear Window thing going on. A neighbor is spying on one of her neighbors, and she suspects him of being like a serial killer that's on the loose. So she starts her own investigation, gets caught up in it, and the stakes get higher and higher. So it's like a cat and mouse kind of thing. Really good. This is a good film. Um, yeah, but it plays out like I said, like an investigative type of style. But when the kills actually happen, they're straight up slasher kills, and they're actually done by Tom Savini. So, anytime Tom Savini is involved in a film, like the gore and the kill effects are going to be good, and they're really good in this one. There's some highlights in this one for sure. Um, yeah, and this one, like this has really a sleazy feel. It's just one of those. I don't know. It's kind of like because you're kind of there's no surprise of who the killer is. Following um you're following the killer. You're kind of with him on some of these kills, and it just kind of has that sleazy, like a maniac. Like you know who's killing, you know who's doing the killing. You just got to you watch how they get set up and all that stuff. So definitely some sleaze going on here. This one stars a really young Jennifer Jason Leigh, and she plays a girl who's blind, and it's really good. It really plays into the story. Like it's a pretty big subplot within the story, and there's some like again scenes at near the end with her like the blind girl and the killer, and it's just super sleazy and very tense. Like this film is pretty tense. um, yeah, this is definitely a good one. Again, like Night School, it's a really well-made film. Great directing, great acting, great cinematography. Um, the film is structured really well, but then they throw in these tense moments and these sleazy moments and these really good Savini kills. It's quite different within the 80s slasher genre, but it's really good one. I really enjoy it. So yeah, definitely check out Eyes of a Stranger. It's again, it's pretty unique within the genre. All right, let's move on and take a look at number 48. Okay, so coming at number 48 from 1980, we have New Year's Evil. Now, this is obviously a holiday slasher, a New Year's Eve type thing, and this one's a little closer to the 80s standard 80s slasher formula. Not really, but it's closer. Um, this has like Eyes of a Stranger. This one is neat because again we get to follow the killer around, and the concept of this film is really cool. It's the killer is making a kill every time the clock strikes 12 across time zones, and he's working his way, I guess, west to east until they get to like New York. I don't know if I think it's in New York. So every time there's a new time zone that strikes midnight, a kill gets he makes another kill, and he's getting closer and closer to his intended victim. Yeah, it's a cool little concept for sure. And like I said, you follow around the killer, you see his perspective. So again, it's a little sleaziness in that regard. Some really good kills in this one. You kind of get to witness him trolling for these women or these victims and picking them up, and you see him be all charming, and then he turns and starts killing, and it's yeah, it's interesting. It's like I said, it's a little different for sure. This one has a really good late 70s, early 80s feel, and it's like it's set around New Year. So there's like the New Year's Eve party, like the ball drop and there's bands playing with these like big 80s hair and the neon colors and all that stuff. Really good vibe. Really, I like the setting and just the feel um, of New Year's Evil. So yeah, again, this is not your typical 80s slasher style of film, but it's really fun. It's a really good one to watch during the holiday season. It's not really a Christmas, but it still has that holiday feel. So yeah, New Year's Evil. I really like this one. So yeah, number 48, uh, pretty good one. All right, let's move on to number 47. Okay, so coming to number 47 from 1988, we have Hide and Go Shriek. Now this is more, of your typical 80s slasher, even though it's a late 80s slasher, so they kind of have their own feel to them. But yeah, this is like your teens, young adults. Basically they're going to party, have fun. They get trapped in a department store, like a furniture store, with like a loading dock and freight elevators and like showrooms, like living room setups, bedroom setups. And then they start getting, picked off one by one, and they're trapped, and yeah, it's cool. It's just a generic, fun little slasher. Like I said, the setting for this film is fantastic. That's probably why I have it up here. I love the setting. Um, I, I'm I'm a sucker for, these types of films set in like grocery stores or department stores or shopping malls. It's just, I don't know. It's just, it's something it's a place that we all go to. So you can just imagine going there and getting trapped with a killer on the loose. It's appealing to me. This one has some decent kills. There's a really cool decapitation scene in this one involving an elevator, which is really good. Some of the other kills are pretty good. Nothing stand out. Like the elevator one's cool. Really good nudity. There's a couple. There's a really good striptease. Like the nerdy girl. I don't know why I always bring this up when I talk about this film, but you're watching it, and there's always like the nerd. The stereotypical characters, and the nerdy girl is there, and she looks nerdy and plain, loose, baggy clothing. You don't think anything of her, but then she ends up having a sex scene, and she puts her hair down, takes her glasses off, and strips down to her underwear, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the most attractive girl in the film, and she has like a nude scene, and it's, I don't know, just the way it was set up. It was like a it was a trick or something, like, oh, you didn't think anything of this girl, and it was a nice little bonus or something. I don't know. I always liked that about this film, which is weird, I guess, but um, the the uh the reveal, the ending of this film is weird. It's like a twisted, kind of a strange. It's one of those ones you'll never guess it. It just, as it happens, you're like, okay, and it's weird. I like it. It's okay, but it's yeah, kind of a twisted end. So yeah, I don't know. Hide and Go Shriek. I wouldn't say this is the strongest slasher around. It's it's the setting, I think, really elevates it for me. And like I said, like there's a couple good kills. There's some really good nudity. Um, I'm a sucker for the setting within like the department store. It has that typical late 80s cheese, which in itself now is kind of charming. But I don't know. There's just enough here that for me to really enjoy it, and it lands at number 47. So yeah, I like this one. I feel it's a little bit underrated. All right, let's move on. Take a look at number 46. All right, so coming in at number 46 from 1984, we have The Initiation. Now this is another one that has a really cool setting. It's kind of split. The first half of this film takes place within like a sorority house. There's like a like a school setting. College campus, and there's a girl, and she's obviously trying to get into, or in like a sorority, and there's like an initiation process, and in order to get in, they have to play pranks and whatnot, and one of the girls' father owns like a shopping mall, so as part of the prank, they like take a bunch of people to go to the mall to do some kind of hijinks, and of course when they get there, there's a killer in the mall, and they get locked inside, and they get hunted and stalked and killed off one by one. So that's kind of the setup, which is great. That's right up my alley. So yeah, I love the setting. Again, this is another really well-made film. decent acting. It doesn't feel like a one of the like the low budget cheapy type slashers like thrown together with like minimal budget just to get something in the theaters. This feels like there was some thought and effort put behind this film. The plot is really strong. It leads, like throughout the whole plot. There's like kind of like a subplot of like what's going on with the main character. There's like nightmares, there's dreams going on. So you're trying to piece it together, and it all comes together really good at the end, and it plays into the twist reveal. So I really like the plot and the setup. Because the reveal, I loved the ending. The ending on this was great. Really good. I don't know if I can't remember if it's one of the ones that you can easily guess. It might be borderline predictable. I can't remember if I figured it out on my first watch or not. But yeah, it's a good ending for sure. Yeah, but like once the film gets to the mall, it really picks up for me. That's obviously when the kills start, and it's fun seeing teenagers, college students run around a mall. It's good. There's some decent kills. But this film is really all about like the setting and the story for me. And yeah, I like the initiation. It's definitely a solid film. So yeah, we got that at number 46. So let's move on and take a look at number 45. Okay. So coming at number 45, also from 1984, we have Don't Open Till Christmas. And this is a British slasher, which is obviously a Christmas holiday slasher. So it's unique in that way. There's not too many British slashers around here, so that's something that I kind of really like about it. You got like the British accents, and you got like it takes place in London. Just kind of has a different feel, like the way British filmmaking is. It just feels different. Like Italian feels different. Spanish films feel different. This one just kind of has its own flavor, which is cool, by itself. So. Uh, but what's great about this film is that this film has really sleazy, and I like the sleazy films. Like this is like if Maniac is the New York version, like the American version, New York Ripper is like the Italian version. Don't Open Till Christmas is like the British version of that type of film. It fits with those kind of like a sister film. Um, yeah, this film has tons of nudity, really good nudity. Um, really good kills, and like the two are mixed. Like I like it, like when people are like being stalked when they're naked, or if they're having sex, or they're just whatever the issue. There's one guy like using the washroom, and he gets killed while his pants are down. It's like a castration. A dude gets castrated, and it's pretty nasty. It's just stuff like that. They blend the sex and the violence together, and just to make this sleazy feel, and I like that in these types of films. The setting for this, it's great. We get to, they're on the streets of London. Nighttime. It's at Christmas time, New Year's time. It's a great setting. It's one we don't often get to see. There's like some creepy like peep shows, like adult cinema type area, people going in there, and but in Britain, in London, it's yeah, it's different. It has a good feel. Now this one definitely feels a little lower budget, but with the sleaze factor, it kind of fits with that low budget. Kind of elevates it to its own. I don't know. It's just its own. It has its own unique feeling, I guess. Yeah, I just watched this for the first time this past Christmas, and it blew me away. I was surprised. I was ranking all my Christmas '80s slashers, and this came in number two, only second to Silent Night, Deadly Night. I thought it was gonna be, one of the last ones, but yeah, this one really surprised me. I'll be watching this multiple times at Christmas. This is a really good one, so definitely check it out this Christmas if you can. All right, let's move on and take a look at number 44. All right, so coming to number 44 from 1983, we have Curtains. And again, here is another one of these very different style 80s slasher. This is another one of those adult slashers. You know, it's I don't think it was made for teenagers. It's not starring teenagers. All like the actors are like fairly well known, really established actors. Like, and we're not talking about young adults. Like these are like mature people acting with mature problems, mature issues that they're dealing with. But it's just centered around like a slasher kind of formula a little bit. You know, there's like a bunch of actors going there. They're auditioning for like a role in a, I don't know if it was a play or a film, and now the director's there, and they're all doing stuff to try to land certain roles. And obviously, there's a killer on the loose, and but they're like I said, they're adults, so it's I don't know, it's really interesting. But yeah, it definitely feels is for a mature audience. Now this is a Canadian film. So I'm Canadian, so this maybe I'm a little biased on this, but I just so that's something I I like about. There's some Canadian music, some Canadian artists at the time, which is great for me. But there's the highlight of this film. There's an ice skating scene that again has some Canadian music playing at the time, and it has one of the most iconic chase sequences and kill sequences. It's great. It's fantastic, and the killer in this film has the mask is like I think they call it like a hag mask, and it's creepy. It's creepy as hell, and it's one of the it's one of the creepiest masks in the whole genre. Being like again back to like the ice skating, like looking over your shoulder and seeing this killer wearing this mask with like a big like sickle kind of blade chasing you on skates. Yeah, super creepy. That's a really really good scene. So yeah, Curtains is just one of these solid horror films that has some strong slasher elements. Everything is just really made really well. The acting, the directing, everything is just done really well. It just kind of feels like one of the classy films within the genre, if that's a thing, So yeah, number 44, Curtains, Canadian slasher classic. Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 43. Okay, so coming at number 43 from 1982, we have The Dorm That Dripped Blood. Now this is your typical early 80s school college type of slasher. It's a little different in that it's this the setting for this one takes place. It's like an abandoned school setting. There's a group of college students, and I think they're gone there to help clean up or something like that. Like it's like on like the off season. There's no classes, but these group of students are there to like I would say I can't remember if it's to clean up or something like that. So they're abandoned. They're up at this campus, this dormitory, and they're alone, and you kind of feel that isolation, which is pretty cool. This film definitely is low budget. This one feels like a low budget slasher, but there's something about it that's charming for this one for me. I don't know. I like I said, I really like the setting. Like you feel the isolation. The dormitory, like they utilize it pretty good. There's like the dorm, there's like the cafeteria, there's like the boiler room, there's like the outside grounds. They use the school really well, which I always appreciate. Kills are pretty good. Some pretty fun ones. There's a highlight kill here that's like a power drill, which is fantastic. Really well done. The practical effect. Yeah, the power drill kill is great. Now this one, I love the ending in this film. I'm not gonna spoil it, but they do something here that it's not too common in these films. We've seen it a few times. This type of ending, the way the way they choose to end it. Like I said, we've seen it a few times, but I love it. It's kind of just one of those head scratchers, and I don't know. It's like mean spirited. I don't know. I like it. So yeah, the ending in this film is really good. So yeah, for a low budget, cheap, uh, early 80s slasher. This is one of my favorites of those ones. I really like this one. I don't know what it is. I don't think people I don't think this one is looked upon too highly. I don't know. It's something about it just kind of speaks to me. I don't know if it's the setting or like the ending. I don't know. I like the dorm that drip blood. It's enjoyable. So yeah, that was number 43. All right, let's move on to number 42. All right, so kind of number 42 from 1984, we have Fatal Games. Now, I think Fatal Games is one of the most underrated slashers. Not a lot of people know about this one. It's never gotten like I don't think it's gotten like a proper DVD release. There is DVDs out there, but it's like a bootleg of a VHS rip, I think. So yeah, this one is forgotten to time for the moment. But yeah, clearly low budget. There's a couple really good actors. Like I think it was a Sally Kirkland who went on to have a really big career. She's in this, so she's a strong actor, obviously. But everyone else is, the acting is not great. The directing, it's a low budget, cheapy type, um, cringe type of slasher. But that's fine. I love that type of you know uh, type of slasher. But regardless of all that, this film has so many elements that I absolutely love. First off, it's like kind of like again a school setting. It takes place in the school, and a lot of it is sports themed. It's a bunch of athletes trying to, I think they're trying to get into like the Olympic trials. Like they're all like gymnastics and like javelin, swimming, all these different sports. They're all like student athletes, so I like that theme. It's like obviously graduation day. This one I think took a lot of inspiration from graduation day. Um, so that's really cool. The killer is great. The one of the main weapons the killer likes to use is a javelin, which is great. Again, similar to graduation day. But yeah, the javelin killer is fantastic, and the kills are very stylistic. Um, they're some of these kills are fantastic. There's one that comes to mind is there's one in a pool, um, and it's just great. You get some shots of the killer coming as the victims like doing laps in the pool, but that there's some shots underwater, and then you kind of see the kill from both perspective. It's great, man. Yeah, some of these kills are great, but what makes them is even better is the music. During the kills, there's like a synth track, like a bass heavy synthesizer bass kind of thing going on, and kind of like when Jason Voorhees is about to go, he has kind of his kill theme music. Well, it's the same kind of thing. It's you know when a kill's coming, this music sets in, and it's great. I just it puts a big smile on my face just thinking about the music. It just works so well. Like I don't know, I love it. The kills are so fun on this. Um, the nudity in this film, I think this is one of the 80s slashers I think that has the most nudity. There's tons of nudity. There's like a chase scene. I think a girl was in like in the sauna, naked of course, and then the killer starts chasing her, and it's like a prolonged scene running up and down the school halls, killer chasing her, and she's completely naked, just like just like running around for a long period of time, and it's great, man. It's so fun. They had a lot of fun with this one. Um, so yeah, good kills, fun music, fun killer, a lot of nudity, and the reveal is the reveal in this film is it's cheesy. It's super cheesy. It's forced the way that they kind of reveal it. There's like a newspaper thing, and it's like the writing was not strong, how to properly put this twist out there. But regardless, I loved it. It's kind of a cheesy, funny reveal, and it's creepy. It's kind of has like a creepy vibe to it, like the way that, again, I won't spoil it, and I won't show like the newspaper because it's like a headline in a newspaper. It's funny, but yeah, I don't know. I like the reveal. Like I said, there's a creep factor to it. Kind of makes your hair stand up a little bit. I don't know what it is about this film. It's just I love it. I really really like Fatal Games. Like I said, it's just these little elements, these slasher elements that we expect. It has it. And you know, the rest of the film is kind of a lower budget, not a great looking film, but because of these elements, it's a lot of fun to watch. And this is my number one most wanted 80s slasher on Blu-ray. Every time Vinegar Syndrome or someone announces, you know, new Blu-rays, 80s slashers on Blu-ray, I always cross my fingers it's going to be Fatal Games, and it hasn't happened yet, but hopefully. So yeah, that's number 42. Let's move on. Take a look at the last one on the list, number 41. Okay, so coming at number 41 from 1987, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. I don't know, this may be a surprise. Maybe some people have this way higher. If you've been following this channel, you know I'm not a fan of this franchise. But you know, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is one of the few within the franchise that I like, and I do like this film. You know, at this point in the franchise, Freddy is still watchable at this point. You know, after this, he gets harder and harder to watch because I don't know, he turns into like a caricature of something. I don't know. It's but in this one, he's still like there's the wise crack and the one-liners, the humor, but he is still kind of intimidating and pretty scary. So um, yeah, there's that. I like the concept of this film, you know, a team of teens, you know, working together, you know, teaming up in their dreams to try to stop Freddy Krueger. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of fun, I guess, at the time. The hospital setting where is cool. I like, you know, I like that they're kind of, I don't know, thought of like crazy kids or whatever the vibe is that they're going for. I kind of like the setting. Some of the kills are really good. You know, there's a lot of highlight kills. That's probably the thing I like most about this film is these are the most memorable kills for me. Like growing up, like when I think of this franchise, you know you know the kid with the ligaments and the tendons, you know, being like a puppet marionette, like walked off the ledge. That one's very strong in my memory. You know, obviously the prime time TV girl, that's iconic almost at this point. You know, the Freddy with the syringes in his fingers, they're all really cool. They're just really, yeah, iconic. These kills are just, they're pop culture icons at this time, at this point. So, yeah, I enjoy the kills, and obviously the film is really well made. It looks nice. It's you know, big budget, all that. It's not hard to watch. You know, it's nice to see Nancy return. I guess you know, kind of adds something to the lore of you know of the Friday franchise. So it's nice to see her back. I don't know. There's lots of little things I like in this one. You know, that this isn't a perfect film. Again, it's a Friday film, and for me, there's a lot of weird stuff that you leaps of faith that you or like logic that you kind of have to take with Freddy character with the dreams and whatnot. That's just me. Um, but you know, this is basically the last time that this franchise was really enjoyable for me. And like I said, I do like this film. It's a solid horror film, and it's one of the better supernatural slashers. And I'm not a big supernatural slasher guy. I like my killers straight up, you know, hunt, bladed weapon, nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. But you know, I appreciate the importance of the Nightmare franchise and Freddy and whatnot. So yeah, for a supernatural slasher, this is one of the better ones for sure. It's well made, it's well acted, well directed, all that stuff. It's yeah, it's it's honestly it's one of the few nightmare films that I actually like. So I didn't really know where to rank this one, to be honest. These are always tough for me because I know people like these films and they'll be like, oh, this is a top 10 film for me. I don't know. It's not there for me. Like I said, I prefer the typical formulaic 80s slashers films like the Friday the 13th. And this isn't it. That's not what these are. So 41, I thought about it. I feel good about putting this at 41. And there's still one more nightmare film to come on this list. So this is my second favorite. in the franchise. So, but the next one's coming soon. Trust me. It's yeah. So anyway, we'll deal with that when we get to that one. That's it. That's my top 80 slasher of the 80s, numbers 50 through 41. So yeah. So stay tuned. Next time we do one of these videos, we'll be counting down number 40 through 31. So we're getting there. We're getting close to the top. So yeah. So everyone who's stuck around this long, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. And yeah. Until next time. All right. See ya.